Yes, okay. Thanks a lot. In fact, our plan was to have an interview with you, but it is really nice to see a full-fledged presentation from you to start with. Perhaps I should have thought of this in hindsight, that first session by you to do the presentation so that we all absorb the information, and second would be to have an interview afterwards. So anyway, I'm hoping that the participants have the stamina to stay back for a good interview with Dr. Sreekumar. Kindly accept my apologies if I'm exceeding the time, but given the good occasion that we have, I think we'll go ahead and utilize this opportunity. Dr. Sreekumar, my first question for you is, thanks a lot anyway for the presentation. I think the focus in the presentation was a lot about cow and its importance. And I've realized that cow is essential for farming as such. Can you explain how cow is related to tilling the land? Or when we're talking about farming, the general idea or the impression we have often is that we're looking at crops, and we often don't relate farming to livestock. So are you referring to farming here as cow and cow related farming, or are we going to talk about crops related farming?
No, see, there isn't, I told you, there are no parts in it. You cannot separate farming from cows or anything. Even you cannot separate your decision also from farming. All the decisions we take has got a connection with all the other species, whatever is around us. We cannot say, no, I have taken a decision which will not affect the environment. Everything will positively or negatively affect the environment. So I will just give you how it will help in farming. See, I had shown one video, one slide wherein the cows are kept in a particular plot in the night. In the night, they don't graze. So what we do is, just imagine you have 1 acre property and you are planning to plant paddy there. So you need to develop your land before prepare the land before the paddy, because you want the dung and urine and all to come there. So one thing that what people are doing now is, they may be keeping the cows in the Shauchalaya, collecting the dung, and then transporting it to your particular plot, and then doing the farm. See what all labor is involved there. It is the decision that you have taken to keep them in a place and transport the whole thing. Cleaning the Goshala, feeding them in the Goshala, and then shifting them to your particular plot, and then spreading them in the plot. Even then you will miss the urine. That is the situation.
So the understanding I'm getting is that, yes, it is holistic. I understand that, but is being lay people still, it is so difficult nowadays to understand the concept of holism. Although I actually, as a psychiatrist, I practiced holistic medicine. It's interesting. I know the concept of holism, but I'm trying to figure out how Goshala fits into crop farming.
Yeah, see, during the summer season, you are not farming. So at that time, you should be keeping your cows in your farmland.
Okay, understand.
Understood. Why should they be in the Goshala? Let them be in the farmland. Let the urine and dung fall there, and the land is ready for your next crop when it rains.
Okay, makes sense. Makes very good sense. Yes. Now, can I ask you this question here? I want to really look at the current scenario where we do farming on a larger scale for better results. Is farming through Vedic perspective, is it financially viable, and does it actually yield, does it make good business sense?
Yes, see, the difference between Vedic farming and what we farm today is, in Vedic farming, the more you farm, the more fertile the land becomes. Now, the more you farm, the more desertifying our land becomes. So isn't it profitable to do it the other way? See, if you see Lakshmi as money, then it is easy to sell the land and get the money. But if you see Lakshmi as fertility, that is a big difference. In Vedic times, the Lakshmi was understood to be fertility of the land.
Right.
Because that is what profitability was. The more you farm, the land is becoming more fertile, means you are becoming more and more profitable, isn't it? But today, you see this like, patient, the operation is successful, but the patient is bleeding. That is a big situation. You are seeing the crop land, and the water coming from the crop land is fully muddy. That means you are losing the soil.
Right. Okay.
So profitability is only there in the Vedic system.
Okay, so this concept, have you been replicating it? Have you tried and tested it? And can you give us some idea of what scale you have been doing and what results, just briefly for our understanding?
See, this was something that was being practiced before. And in all our forests, this is what is going on. There is no one to harvest. The people may be harvesting. There is no one to fertilize. There is no one to pour water. This is a system that is happening there. It's managed by the full livestock there in the forest. So that is the biggest university from where you can learn this. Even there are many people who have taken this. Even now in Orissa, Tamil Nadu, and certain places in Rajasthan and all, people still do this system. But it is not the inorganic fertilizer. When that industry came in, it was shown. That is how it was marketed. No, you didn't take these cows. You just put this powder, and you will sow
Right.
that. So that has changed the paradigm.
Okay. So what
Vedic
about your
paradigm has been
farm?
shifted to the scientific paradigm.
So what about your farm? Do you have a farm as such, or do you supervise or monitor any farm and give a consultant for that?
Surely, see, there is the Agarwal farms in the Jaipur. They are doing it this way. This model has been done, and a lot of training programs we have conducted in that particular place for people to understand.
Okay.
So, and many who have come forward. See, there are many people, but this is the place where we give the training for the people. Whoever does it now, that becomes a training center.
Right. So for participants who are interested in joining training sessions by Dr. Sreekumar, actually he has, I missed it, but he's conducted one training session in Singapore. Actually, in those days, I was living in Singapore, but at that time I traveled to India, so I missed it. But yes, he conducts training, and that will always be helpful. Those who are very serious about employing Vedic farming techniques. Okay, so you're saying that there is financial viability for the farmer in this way of farming.
Yes, yes.
And I'm assuming that being holistic, the environment is a good stakeholder. I consider farmers, consumers, environment, and livestock to be stakeholders in farming.
Yes.
So if that's the case, consumer, what does consumer get out of Vedic farming?
The context that we have for our life is that we want a quality life. And the quality life comes from good food, good water, everything. So that can happen only in Vedic farming. No other system can give you this.
So we can actually eat healthier food, and actually one of the things, for instance, I mean, it's a parallel, but for instance, the cows fed with medicines, and the beetles actually don't feed on the dung.
Yes, it would happen.
I think they are a lot more sensible. They know what is natural and what is not. Perhaps we are not really, I mean, it's scary, because I also understand, perhaps you can correct me on this, is that some countries actually they inject steroids into the cattle to produce more milk, and we are actually drinking that.
Utility. You are bothered about the utility of the cow, not the function.
Yeah.
So actually that decision is going to affect your quality of life.
That's true. That is true. Very much true. Yeah. Okay. Now, there was actually a situation. It's strange how I always wonder, sometimes frustrated as well, how world doesn't see the dharmic perspective. The dharmic perspective is holistic, and it also kind of teaches us not to be greedy.
Yes.
And it also actually teaches us how everything in this world is to be taken care of. I remember a situation in when I was living in UK. There was a bovine disease outbreak.
Yes.
Overnight, all the cattle was slaughtered.
Yes.
Across the country.
Yes.
Just like that. And I was shocked beyond belief. How can it is actually why were they slaughtered? Because those cows are to be eaten, or those whatever the cattle has to be eaten by humans.
Yes.
So they were being actually reared for human consumption.
Yes.
And because the human will be affected with this cow disease, mad cow disease as it is called, the cows have been slaughtered. So I actually was very shocked because it was a good example where we are seeing utilizing everything else for our own pleasures.
Yes.
So we don't see that, don't we? I mean, in dharmic context, what would you say is the relation a human has with livestock?
See, we should understand, see, what is happening is in the present syllabus of all the universities, we are taught only utilitarian. What is the utility of cow? What is the utility of sheep? What is the utility of everything? Utility only taught. The function is not being taught. Once you are aware of the function, see, like, we have a pen, and we know that the function of this pen is for us to write. We can also scratch our head now, but we never purchase this pen to scratch our head. It is to write. So same way, when you are purchasing or keeping a cow for the purpose of milk, it is like scratching your head. You won't get the benefit unless and until you keep her for the weaklings. No, they connect the cow and the calf, and they connect the cow to land. We will not get what this pen or what that cow is intended to give you. So we miss it. So that is why I told in the context, it is told, we have to see whether the rulers are going as per the advice given by the brahmanas or the wise people, and are the cows happy?
Yeah. Yes.
It's an indicator, like you have a thermometer to know whether there is body temperature. The happiness of the cow is seen as the to read the functioning of the particular system that you are trying to audit.
Right. Okay. Yes. Perhaps I'll take one more question from my side before I take questions from participants, because there are quite a few questions coming through, which is very good. And I'm sure they're all coming from people who are already into farming. So one question I have towards before I ask them is, what are those qualities you would like to see in a person who wants to practice Vedic style of farming? What are those qualities?
Faith in the creation, faith in the creator and the creation. That is the first thing that you need. We need to understand. See, if we have faith in a Mercedes Benz, we mean that the person who made that the company that made it, he has made to suit my demands.
Right.
So we need to have. So that is why we purchase Mercedes Benz. So same way we need to have the faith in the Lord that He has made it for me, and so that I will get happiness. So by purchasing a car, if you get happiness, that's the faith you have in the Mercedes. The same way you need to have faith in the Creator. That is the quality we need to have, nothing else.
Okay, all right. So let's see what questions we have now. There's a question here. Do you believe, this is from Dr. Poshak Patel, do you believe about A1 and A2 milk marketing?
See, A1 milk is supposed to be from a crossbred cow. And it has been found that there is some genetic variation in the mutation has happened to the casein that is there in the milk. True. It is the same with hybrid wheat, same with all the hybrids, not only cow. Every hybrid that we have created, that is, we are not biologically designed for hybrids. We are biologically designed for what the Lord has given us. It is our super idea that we have made hybrids. That will naturally be non-biologically suited for you. That is what is happening with this A1 milk also. So the decision is not the milk. The milk is not the problem. It is the hybridization that's the problem. Have you stopped that crossbreeding?
Okay.
We need to stop that. Then only you can. But another thing also, even if it is not a crossbred cow, but if you are rearing it the way that I had mentioned, keeping the cow and the calf separated, the milk you get is even more poisonous than A1.
Okay.
So where should we concentrate now? On A1 or better milk?
So would you say then that the marketing, I know that A2 milk is being promoted as the best thing right now. So would you say that we are not at a stage where we can say that A2 milk is also kind of, let us assume, a desi kind of version? Is it not?
Never. See, if the milk is from a pregnant cow, if the milk is from a cow that is stall fed, if the milk is from a cow that, by after separating the calf, then whichever way, whichever cow it is, whether it is A1 or A2, the milk is even more poisonous.
Okay.
So we are not getting this milk today, the milk that I told. We are only getting the milk of pregnant cows. Everybody, the tea you have taken today by any person on this earth, he has taken milk of a pregnant cow today.
Okay. So you mean to say pregnant cow as in, I'm trying to understand, lactation only happens after the calf is born, isn't it?
Yeah, lactation starts only after, same as human beings. Lactation
Yes.
starts only after the child is born.
Yes.
And then the child is nursed by the mother. And once she is weaned, only the next pregnancy should take place.
Yes.
And another thing, you understood that the growth rate of the calf, daily more than 1 kg growth rate per day. So you can imagine the drain that has happened from the mother.
Yeah, but how, when you say pregnant, I'm just trying to, maybe I'm confused here. When you say pregnant cow, you're actually talking about the mother.
Yes.
As in who's given birth to the calf. And the lactation has started. But that's during the it's during the lactation period that we are going to draw the milk, isn't it?
Yes. So the total period of lactation is 10 months. So as per the university guidelines or the profitable dairy guidelines, you have to get a calf every year. So that means you will have to impregnate her on the 3rd month. So what will happen? Remaining 7 months is pregnant cow's milk.
Okay. I'm sure there are so many things to talk about it. This is a huge topic anyway, isn't it?
Prabhuji, as a doctor, do you recommend pregnancy for a lactating mother?
Well, it's not possible as much as I know from biologically. I don't think biologically it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen.
That is because we are managing.
Yes, true. But I'm saying that this is a huge topic. People are actually asking, can we have another session as well? So
see, the thing is,
understandably,
we are thinking about the what you say, adding something additives to the milk or the spoiling of the milk after milking. I am not talking about that.
Right.
I'm talking about the milk, the cow and the person who is giving you the milk.
Okay, so let's see one more question here. It's from Anita Nair, who says, what about sex-sorted semen technology? Is it unethical?
Definitely, it is unethical.
So I'm assuming this technology is anyway Vedic, not Vedic.
Never. See, removing the testicle is not Vedic.
Yeah.
Now you are not permitting growth, birth of a bull.
Okay, all right. Okay, is the dung of ox same as the dung of cow? I think the questions are a little technical, but still let me have a very quick answer.
See, the productivity needed by a cow is for the production of milk, no? So naturally there will be more energy things in the stomach, the eating, the processing will be different. So there can be some variation in the number of bacteria that may be there. But otherwise, structurally they are the same. The difference is only in the bacteria that is present. Gut bacteria.
I think quite a few questions here are very technical rather than particularly about Vedic farming. Okay, we have one question from Jubi Yohanan. Farming without cows, using only dung by Subhash Parelkar is not the right approach. I don't know whether it's a question or it's a comment. Your response?
The thing is, that is dung-based farming. See, I'm not saying anything against another system. What I'm trying to say is, now that you've understood what cow-based farming is, you yourself audit any system of farming that is advised. Even in any system, if the cow is in the shauchalaya and you are taking only the dung, in which way is the cow happy?
Actually, I'm seeing that a lot of questions here are very technical, and I want to take a step back because the purpose of today's interview is more about, as I said, the connecting dots from past to future. We're reviewing what was done in the past. We are reviewing whether it is relevant in the current times and we can apply it now. And application and relevance is to be seen as one, is the society, the current society accepting holistic farming, and is holistic farming financially viable, and is it something which is sustainable and can be employed at a larger scale. So we'll focus on those aspects because I'm more interested in saying, can dharmic practices come into existence yet again,
Yes.
whereby we become ambassadors of the right way to do things,
Yes.
not making sure that the wrong ways to do things go away.
Yes.
So so we looked at the financial viability. You say that definitely for a small farmer as well, these are financially viable techniques?
Definitely. See,
Right.
in any farming system, now the present farming system, you need input, something you are purchasing.
Yeah.
And then, for example, you have purchased inputs worth 1 lakh. Just imagine you have purchased inputs worth 1 lakh,
Yeah.
and then you got a yield for 1.5 lakhs. So you say, it's profitable. I got 50,000 rupees. Why can't you get 1,50,000 rupees when you don't need those inputs? See, the system that the Lord has made doesn't need to make you need to purchase anything from outside. The resources are directly from the top atmosphere and from the soil. That is how the Vedic farming does. See, you can look at the forest. That's why I told. What is the input you are providing to the forest? The same way farming also can be done, but we have to change the way we see things. What is it? What is the change we need? We shouldn't forget the context. I want a quality life. So when you spend 1 lakh and earn 1,50,000, the person you gains is not you. It is the person to whom you spend this 1 lakh. That is not a profitable farming. Profit will come only if you have not spent anything and you are still getting it. You need to spend no. Why do you need those fertilizers? Prabhuji, the issue is because there are many more things that has to be known.
Yes, understand.
The problem is, I just took you to another to understanding, what the principles that has to be understood.
Very true.
How do you understand that your system is Vedic is by looking at in Vedic system, the happiness of the cows was seen as the indicator of this proper functioning system.
So has this is my second session of connecting dots from past to future. The first one was with an Ayurvedic practitioner. And in that, I was saying that me being an allopathic practitioner, in my MBBS graduation, I haven't had a subject on Ayurveda. Why I say that it is important is, being an Indian, why can't there be an introduction to an Indian system of medicine, at least an introduction to it? It doesn't have to be a full length anyway, but it should be an introduction. So similarly, has time come for Vedic concepts of farming to be included in, let's say, BSc agriculture, I'm sure, or veterinary medicine? Is that right now part of the curriculum, or is it not?
No, it is not a part of the curriculum now. We need to change. That is why I told we need to change the way we see things, and then only you can expect better results.
And it is very sad, isn't it? And I see this in every sphere of life. If you look at civil engineering, for instance, I don't think there'll be a mention of Vastu Shastra or Shilpa Shastra in that. So similarly, the very backbone of Indian economy is farming. Maybe things are changing now, but it's farming. And yet there is no mention of the traditional styles of farming in BSc agriculture or so. How do you explain this kind of disconnect that we have? And as I was putting in my presentation early on, how we are so happy to be uprooted. We just allow ourselves to be uprooted. We don't want to be rooted. We don't want to make any attempts to kind of get back to the roots. What is your take? What is your experience of having come across people?
That is, disconnected from nature. See, in our life, day-to-day life, right from the day we start our life, we have been disconnected from our mothers. That is, maybe you have been connected to your biological mother, but there are many other mothers, like mother cow, mother earth. We are totally disconnected. The present generation, they are not at all getting an opportunity to associate with or to understand how she performs, what does she want, what do you need to do to them to sustain your life, and the importance of them in your life and in the future. We are disconnected. So what happens is, when we study something or when we take any decision, we never consider the environment here. We only look at the environmental, I mean, like maybe the money aspect or the social aspect, but we always forget the environment that we are. See, without agriculture, there is no city. There is no museum, cinema theater. Nothing is there without agriculture. This disconnect is there. People think, you may be connected to a milk booth. We think, see, another interesting thing that I want to share is people believe that milk is something that the cow gives 365 days because when you go to the milk booth you get, but that is not the picture. It is seasonal. It is not, you cannot get. It is the present way of managing that you are getting 365 days. It is a seasonal thing. It is only seen after the rain.
Yeah.
You cannot see in the summer.
Yeah. Okay, so that's interesting because the next part of our topic was about how can we draw parallels, the holistic approach, and the question was about holistic living. What parallels can you draw? What lessons can we, as let us say, living within families, living within society, what lessons can we learn from holistic farming to apply in holistic living? Are there any?
Surely, that is the decision making. We as a family, what is decision making has to be understood. See, why do we go to a spiritual organization wherever it is? Because we are finding something wrong in the decisions we are making. So we need to learn how the art of decision making. That is missing today. That is the lesson that we need to learn from holistic management. Actually, holistic management is just teaching you decision making. We have gone wrong in it. We do not consider the environment. We do not consider the social and the economic at the same time. We are keeping environment away and thinking that that will be done later on. No. Any decision that we took as a relation, as a connection to the social, economic, and the environment. That is what we need to learn from holistic management. It is just common sense only. If you do not have a proper foundation, how can the building stand?
Right.
We have failed in decision making only, nothing else.
And I'm glad you actually put in your slides Nishchaya Buddhi, which I actually kind of advocate and teach in my webinars as well, particularly on Sanatana Dharma. How lacking we are in Nishchaya Buddhi, because we need to be on the right side of Dharma, and we are actually often failing to be on the right side of Dharma. We are either afraid to be on the right side, or we are not educating ourselves to be on the right side. Okay, so I think from my side, I have asked enough questions to kind of exhaust you, I guess. I'll just see if there is one or two questions I can pick from the participants. Who, let me see something which, so okay. Sir, how many cows should be grazed and kraled per acre according to Vedic farming? This is from Sukriti Kashyap.
Yes. See, that the question that she had asked is how do you decide how many cows can be kept? That means it is called a stocking rate, how many can be kept. So that is dependent on how much time does it take for the grass to regrow after it has been grazed once. So if it takes 40 days, on an average, if it takes 40 days, based on that only you can say. So I need some more questions that she has to answer, then only I can say that. How many days in that particular environment, how many days does it take for the grass to regrow after it has been grazed once? Based on that only we can calculate how many should be kept in an acre of land.
All right. Interesting. What is kraled, by the way? What
Crawling means, holding them in an enclosure.
Aha, okay. All right, understand. Okay, we have Govindaji here who's made a mention of moment we stop drinking milk derived forcibly, our health will improve. Try for a few months. Actually, I have a follow-up question to this one. Should we or should we not drink milk?
See, milk actually has more materially than it is more spiritual. Because it comes from such a species. So it is more spiritual. So if you are looking for proteins, you may be getting it. That is why A1, A2, such difference are there. But if you are looking for the real benefit that you need from the cow,
right.
It really touches your consciousness. The milk, no, if it is not proper, it will affect your consciousness. Your thinking, everything will be taken in another direction. So if your context is proper consciousness, don't take the milk that you get today.
But is it contradictory, or can you actually help me remove this contradiction? On one side, in Vedic practices, we see the importance of ghee or milk products, especially in yajna, homa, and everything that we do.
Yes.
So that means that I'm assuming they are obtained through ethical means rather than forcible means. Is that what it is?
Today, there is no ethical dairy.
I'm talking about in the olden days.
Olden times, yes, that's what I told you.
Yeah, for the yajnas and homas, there has been a definite reliance on milk products.
Yes, definitely. But that is from the excess milk.
From the excess milk, yeah. So definitely, it's not to say that vegan practice is what would go well with Vedic style.
No,
it's
veganism is an expression of anger, no? That the people are frustrated with the way the animals are being treated. So actually, veganism has thrown light into the minds of people. There is something wrong that is happening.
Okay.
But it has to be properly presented. That's all.
Right.
See, milk is an essential thing for spiritual upgradation. Definitely, it is. But that is not what is happening now. But only the material upgradation is happening now.
Okay.
Spiritual aspect is missing.
Okay, we have a.
But bro, even then, even others,
yes.
even if it is material, a product full of hormones, it will be stress hormones. In which way it is going to help you materially?
Yeah.
That also you never know. So in no way today's milk is right for human consumption, whether material or spiritual. So
the interesting double over there is one, material, but the more important one from a dharmic perspective is the spiritual component, because the conscience has to be clear as to how the milk has been obtained. And if particularly I am the one who is milking the cow, I should also have the right kind of conscience, and I guess that is where the emphasis has to be.
Yes.
In terms of the right kind of farming methods.
Yes.
And surely the ecosystem has to support one another, the right kind of consumers, because for instance, if the milk or the milk products are a little more expensive because of the style of farming, let us say, then the consumer has to understand that certain things don't come cheap. One of the problems we have is everybody wants everything cheap.
Yes.
Okay. So at the expense of the quality of the product.
Yes.
And the quality of the product is not only material here, it's also about the spiritual quality.
Yes.
Right. So the consumer needs to learn to be patient. Consumer needs to learn to also practice dharma as much as they want to hear of it or talk about it. Practicing dharma actually means employing the patience and the right kind of, as I said, being on the right side of dharma.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Right. I guess it's actually almost half an hour past the time we have set aside. Do you have any final comments, particularly advice to aspirants of Vedic farming? What advice do you have, and how can they approach you?
No, it is not just aspirants of Vedic farming. If you want to live anything, you are taking decisions every day. Every moment you are taking decisions. Do not forget that you have a context. That the context for everyone, even for a terrorist or whoever it is, his context is he wants happy life.
Yeah.
And so that quality life can come only it is related to the life-sustaining thing, that is the environment. So we need to learn to take decisions properly. That we do consider the environment also in the decision we take, and that only can bring in happiness. So we need to learn the proper decision making, and we need to have faith in the Creator who has given us this ecosystem. And it doesn't need you to purchase any inputs. It is self-sustaining, superb system that is there. And unfortunately, the paradigm creators, maybe the scientists or something, what they have created, no, this is not perfect. You need to add that, you need to add this, that has to be done, this has to be done. So that is what is in our minds now, flooded. So that is what I'm telling you. We have to change the way we see things. We have to respect the Vedic system, and which is see all the books, Prabhuji, whichever religious book you say, it doesn't speak of what is happening now. It is all proper practices only. We need to have faith in that and then go into that. That is, as one of my friends say, look for profit, not for yield.
Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you once again, Dr. Sreekumarji, for giving your time for this valuable kind of session. I'm sure there's a lot to learn from you, and everybody wants to, I think I want everybody to be eager to get back to the roots. That's the whole point here.
Yes.
For all the participants, thank you all for joining us today. And I hope you enjoyed the session. And we want to do more of these things. As I have mentioned in the beginning itself, if you are a Dharmic leader or if you know of a Dharmic leader, please put them in touch with me. And I have actually noted, I'm going to note down the phone numbers and the email IDs that you have put in the chat box. I'll send you the YouTube video once I upload it on it. All right.
Please, that has my email ID is there. So if anyone wants to contact, they can contact.
Yes. Yeah. If anybody else wishes to put their numbers in the chat group, just put it. I'll leave it aside for the time being. I won't close it, but I will take leave, and I'll also let's thank wholeheartedly Dr. Sreekumar for this session once again. Thank you once again.
Thank you, Sreekumar. So nice of you. Nice to see you, Prabhu.
Thank you. Thank you.
Salute. Thanks, Srinivasa Malladi, also for creating this.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you. Bye-bye.
So nice of you. Bye-bye.